king's closest bodyguard then. Some of the residents who witnessed and survived the battle in 1985 still remember it, but lament at being neglected by the NRM government for the last 37 years. At least 40 people who were affected by the battle, the residents claim only 4 have benefited from a presidential directive of building them a house.
Yeah, we normally receive those complaints that some of them, they have benefited. Because there is some people who are given houses, the president constructed for them the house, like 3 people or 4. Then others are still complaining, more especially for those one who are eating their animals, the birds, they haven't received some.
65-year-old Kevin Kafambusa, whose home is just a few meters from the battleground, says she lost a son and a husband, but to date she has not benefited from the government.
Tukaba abantu twalo ninyo omwa yafuirirwa omwana wange ati bwe yafuire yagwa mu rutaro omwo baitu ati omwana ogwo akabazaira abaana be bwe yabazaire ati ebintu ebyo bagenda nalengaho kubihondekerera ati no musajja wange buli ali bwe yafuire ati abaana bansingisa amaani ati bwe bansingisiza amaani bandaba enyuma oba bakabiyayo baba abirya ati nyona koraki na yeterere kati nabona kirukirira akusobora kuba nagenda nangambirirayo.
Elmejo Sekanzi is another resident who witnessed the battle and is the one who drew for President Museveni the map of Birembo for tactical planning. Also contributed food and lost relatives. Sekanzi says he has also not benefited from any program of government he helped in 1985.
Nabo kibakuba basaba nabo bukonyezi kubakonyeraho. Abakuba bakabona muno ebintu byabo kabisisa balenga no kwenda kutwita abasirikale bobote twairuka abandi abantu babo babayita baitu abantu tibaina mulingo gwona cyali kusobora kuyikira mu maiso gawo president ati kusaba bukonyeze rundi kitwakusabire abantu abo basobole kukuyikira bakugambire bizibu barozire.
The story of Sekanzi and Kevin is the same story that more than 40 residents of Birembo are telling. Some of them have died, but their children and grandchildren still appeal for help.
The youth, they have not gone to school. People are not interested with education. Majority of them, they are giving a reason that there is no money. Their parents, they have no money to take them to good schools. Even those ones who are at school, they don't go beyond the primary 6. Majority of them, they stop at P6. Those who join secondary, they reach at senior 3, they stop there, that there is no money.
Although the government has put general services in the area, like the Birembo Memorial Seed Secondary School, Birembo Memorial Technical School, Health Center, road network and extension of electricity, for the residents, their contribution should be recognized by individual household income. Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kakumiro.
Thanks, Philip Aguta, for that report there. To the August House now, where Parliament has called for fresh investigations into activities of all non-governmental organizations and international schools. Now, this follows reports of alleged practices of homosexuality in learning institutions. Susan Naonga reports.
Many of the people are dying in silence, but it seems our schools have been penetrated completely. Not only schools, it seems the recruitment centers are very open.
Parliament has called for an investigation into all activities of non-government organizations and their dealings with both local and international learning institutions. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Taiwa, is concerned over reports on increased acts of homosexuality in many institutions of learning.
I talked to one student personally. He told me in one of their schools, you cannot move in the compound at night. One of the prominent male schools, he told me, you fear being grabbed and sodomized.
It's alleged that some schools are now working with the NGOs to indirectly promote acts of homosexuality.
When you go to schools like now, Budu, you may find a teacher is an agent of an NGO. This thing started some 15 years ago. They have really penetrated us to the extent that they are identified good schools, most of one sex, Budo, Namugunga, Weya, Gayaza. Then from there, they will penetrate the society.
Members of Parliament want the Uganda Communication Commission to redefine and regulate broadcast programs that expose children to such acts.
It's called UCC, be equal brought to the attention of this and control these exposures of our children to pornography.
Earlier on, the NGO board had suspended activities of some non-government organizations on allegations of secretly propagating information relating to homosexuality. This, however, gave birth to a disguising NGO consortium said to be providing a platform for NGOs to promote homosexuality.
Had NGOs like the Sexual Minorities Uganda, their activities were known, their offices were known. NGO board suspended the activities of this NGO. But we have another one calling them consortium of these NGOs.
The leaders of the Anglican and Catholic churches in Uganda have on several occasions condemned the foreign doctrines on homosexuality. During the 9th Parliament, a bill was passed to curb homosexuality, but was later challenged in court.
Moral issue, the law is there to guide. Because moralities in any country, you may not be able to police morals, but you can legislate to regulate some unwanted moral conduct.
There is a matter in court regarding the sexual minorities in Uganda. And Right Honourable Speaker, even courts are being threatened.
The matter has, however, been forwarded to the Committee of Education for further action. Susan Naung and Gloria Guitabinji reporting for UBC TV.
Has expressed regret over the censure motion that Parliament passed against Housing State Minister Persis Namuganza. NRM Secretary General Richard Todwong describes as unfortunate the process that he says coincided with Cabinet on Monday.
Upon arrival to chair the Monday morning parliamentary session, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament Thomas Taiwa told legislators about cabinet meeting.
Honorable Namuganza is not a full minister, he's a minister of state. So any business to do with her ministry can be done by the full minister in cabinet.
In fact, the motion against Minister Namuganza was passed without the presence of any member of the front bench. To some MPs, especially those that did not agree with the motion,
I abstain.
the censure was not
Ogwal,
in good
Cecilia,
faith.
Barbara.
I'm sure the country expects much better from us. The country expects that we will deal with the issues of economy. There are more pressing challenges that we could really have concentrated on than waste time on this kind of things. So I want to participate in things that can really be very, very fruitful.
I think there was still room for us to have arbitration and have this matter solved. So my saying no was my personal opinion, and I stand for that.
The NRM Secretary General, Richard Todwong, has also questioned the censure, where no government minister participated.
We thought that Parliament sits every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, but we had not known that Parliament can even sit on Mondays, because Mondays were not gazetted days for parliamentary sittings. And we are still investigating. And secondly, all the ministers were not in Parliament, they were for cabinet. So why would such a move take place in the absence of almost all the ministers from the House?
State Minister for Housing, Persis Namuganza, was censured by 348 members of Parliament out of the 356 who sat on Monday for her role in the Naguru-Nakawa land allocation and contempt of Parliament. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now, former Forum for Democratic Party President, Colonel retired Dr. Kizza Besigye, has condemned the act of police to deny him exercise his rights in attending conferences. Besigye was due to give a keynote address among speakers at an event organized by African Initiative on Food Security and Environment and discuss matters concerning the East African crude oil pipeline. The conference was cancelled by police. The Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson Patrick Onyango told UBC that the organizers had no permission from the IGP.
This was a meeting organized by civil society. It was not even a political party activity. It was a civil society activity. Only that they invited some political leaders to share views on the management of the oil sector in Uganda. And you have seen how it has been managed. What I can only say, beyond what I have said, is that we shall not take this seated down. This is our country. The oil in the ground is our oil. It's the oil of the people of Uganda. How it is managed is our direct business and responsibility.
Today the opposition had organized, had planned an illegal assembly using an NGO called African Initiative on Food Security and Environment. And they invited leading oppositions. Among them was Dr. Kizza Besigye and Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi. But this assembly was illegal. It was not cleared by the Inspector General of Police.
Now, over 90 acts are to be repealed basing on the ongoing process of the Law Revision Miscellaneous Amendments Bill of 2022. And as we hear in the following report, the acts to be repealed are inconsistent, unconstitutional and outdated in the current situation.
In the 7th edition of Revision Miscellaneous Amendments Bill of 2022, acts to be repealed include Maintenance Orders Enforcement Act, Uganda Commercial Bank Act, Treasury Bill Act, Loans Act, Parliamentary Remuneration of Members Act, and Uganda Airlines Act,
which have been identified for being obsolete, for being redundant, and for being spent, meaning that they have served the purpose for which they were enacted for.
Among other acts to be repealed are over 20 finance acts, starting with the 1974 Act, and the revision will include making amendments in some sections of the acts.
We also have fines which are prescribed in foreign currency. We are converting this into currency points. All this is aimed at harmonizing the way fines are prescribed in the statute book.
However, some members on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee raised concern over some missing acts in the review.
The idea that you have to get permission from police to hold a public meeting was declared unconstitutional. So the Public Order Management Act and the Police Act regarding that provision is unconstitutional. It is not being brought up for cleanup. When you look at the Penal Code Act, there are provisions related to sedition, false news. These also have an impact, an effect on freedom of speech and expression.
We guided and said that it's very important that all those provisions, all those laws that were declared unconstitutional must be included in this particular bill, so that it can be indicated that certain provisions of those laws have been repealed.
Once court pronounces itself and declares a provision unconstitutional, this provision ceases to be law.
Francis Oteke, Solicitor General, raised the need to speed up with the process.
To consider and quickly pass the bill so that it can be incorporated in the draft 7 revised edition of laws of Uganda, which is ready for publication.
Dr. Pamela Tibiyikara, Chairperson Uganda Law Reforms Commission, highlighted on the ongoing process of changing the constitution in local languages.
We are just over 54% translating our mother law into the local languages. Our plan is to have 10 every year. So within 3 years, we hope to be done with translating the constitution into all the local languages of Uganda.
After the review process, the 7th edition of Revision Amendments Bill of 2022 will be presented to Parliament for approval. Deborah Namamonde, Tanaba Kenneth, UBC News.
Now, government needs policies that will guide increased tax collection from the high net worth individuals in order to boost the economic sector, besides creating equality between classes. It follows the World Economic Forum, which indicates a wide gap between the high net worth and low income earners. Now, this was during the Oxfam, EURA and other stakeholders advocacy for human rights meeting.
That extreme poverty increased in 2020 for the first time in 20 years. This is due to a wide gap between the wealthiest and the low-income earners. World Bank recommends for mechanisms of extracting more taxes from the high net worth individuals to improve service delivery and bridge the gap between the two.
We will continue to call upon the government to continue taxing of the super rich, the big corporations, as the door out of today's overlapping crisis. By increasing tax on the richest individuals, in our context, we are referring them as the high net worth individuals. The poorest members of the society stand to benefit twice.
Experts say the high net worth individuals are most favored compared to the low-income earners who live in poverty.
The rich avoid taxes. Why? Because they are able to afford the services of tax planners. They rely on value. So until we start thinking about taxing value, and in this case, value of assets, we are wasting time talking about taxing high net worth individuals.
The consumption tax is only so much someone can consume. Whether you're super rich or very poor, there's only so much food, so much alcohol that you can consume. And if the tax rate on the same consumption item is the same, then in effect, the wealthier one is paying a smaller percentage.
The Ministry of Finance recommends a register for the high net worth individuals to maximize tax collection.
There is yet no register of all the potential and the real high net worth individuals, and partly because there's no clear definition or criterion that guides the determination of what makes one to qualify as a high net wealth individual.
The supervisor high net worth at Uganda Revenue Authority, Monica Tumukunde, emphasized the need for citizens to pay taxes.
They will say, so and so helped me. You hear someone from Bale, from Bushenyi, from Gulu calling you and say, I need help. You helped one of my friends to file his taxes, and your is no longer on their back. So we help them, we teach them.
Irene Faith Nantongo, Mary Namokose, UBC News.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Kabode Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Kabode deal this Christmas and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Kabode Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
*11. Keeping an eye on all your balance the old way.
I got this. yeah. Balance is... yeah.
What is he up to now?
*11.
Keeping an eye on all your balance with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to see all your balance in one place and in real time. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. My name is RUKIDI Edward KIJIANANGOMA. Now, government has set up over 100 government state schools and 187 health centers under the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfers Program. The midterm review report also shows that 108 demonstration sites for micro-scale irrigation in over 40 local governments have been substantially set up. We have more in this story.
The program launched in financial year 2018-19 to improve the adequacy and equity of fiscal transfers and improve fiscal management of resources by local governments for health, agriculture and education services. Delayed funds releases are actualize the goals of the 10-year program.
I note that this reform has faced several challenges, in particular the inability to finance the commitments in UGIFT medium-term plan amounting to 242 billion Uganda shillings in financial year 2022-23, coupled with implementation challenges both at the central and local government ministries. The above shortfall has necessitated the structuring of the UGIFT program.
If funds are swept back, local governments that cannot implement activities as planned should receive in a very timely manner the funds at the beginning of the financial year in order to deliver the results on time. So any lag in time for those funds to arrive and then to be returned after they've been swept back, I think has impacts on the timely delivery of services. It also has impacts on the contractors that are working to deliver the services.
Moving forward, it is very important we just don't look at numbers. So many came to deliver, so many people attended OPD. We start focusing on the quality of service. The quality improvements in our facilities, then we tag those indicators to performance. We tag those to disbursement.
The Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfers Program, spearheaded by government through the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development and the World Bank, is expected to end by 2027.
Now, as the country comes closer to the 37th NRM national celebrations, hundreds of people are being offered free medical treatment in Kakumiro district. Now, this is one of the pre-event activities organized by the Office of the Prime Minister in conjunction with other partners to offer free medical services to the public.
From the Prime Minister's Delivery Unit, which coordinates the health camp, says that they organize the camp to offer services that may not be available at the lower health facilities.
Kakumiro is quite a rural area, and we know that in rural areas there's an issue, there's a problem of access. So mainly we wanted the people of Kakumiro to access services, and especially those that are not available within Kakumiro and the neighboring districts. For instance, cancer screening.
Finally, I'm mobilizing all people from Kakumiro and outside Kakumiro to come for the services. The camp is on and services are available and they are free of charge. Kindly come one, come all. Inform a colleague to come and get the services for free.
The several numbers have turned out to have hypertension.
Some of the beneficiaries of the health appreciate the service.
Bampire n'imibazi bansangiremo malaria bakujyanja ba miso bakujyanja ba kabwitongo
The health camp that started on Monday will run until Thursday, the 26th of January 2023. The UPDF is offering free safe male circumcision, while other partners are conducting cancer screening, blood donation, TB screening, test for non-communicable diseases, health education, among others.
Now, in the first episode of the 37 years of NRM rule, we profile war veterans who, up to now, feel abandoned by the government they fought for. As Evan Kawa now reports, Mukeka Badiru, a participant in the war, contends that they have not benefited much in the post-war era.
National Resistance Army turned National Resistance Movement will be marking 37 years ever since General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni took over power.
Whenever we had a chance, we would
train people who would be trainers of others.
We went to Luwero district, one of the key areas where the protracted struggle started in 1981 to oust the Obote regime following rigged elections.
Obote yabba akalulu akatali no ka muzeeyi yabba kazi ne tulowooza nti nga bwe kabadde akasemwogerere bwana agenda musiko bwe tunaawangula n'akaddiza semwogerere tekaddayo kale ekyo ffe ne tutakifaako ffe nga tunoonya mirembe.
Not far away from the main road of Luwero in Megade village, Katikam sub-county, we find Mukeka Badiru, a gentleman who participated in the 5-year bush war struggle that left scores of lives lost and gross violation of human rights. He joined the war at the age of 40 and has no kind words from the fruits of the 5-year guerrilla war.
I
was involved in the struggle, but I reached a point of struggling to survive, yet those who are not part of the war are doing well. We are flagged as useless when we speak, yet we are the people who reached a point of eating lice while some were buried in pits. Our people with whom we were in the war were killed. It is only by God's grace that some of us survived.
He was supplying food to the fighters and carrying bullets for the NRA.
These were Catholics who had planted food in Bukomero, where we used to pluck cassava, then take it to the camps. They would give us 2 pieces of the cassava to take for our people, or even not given anything if it wasn't enough.
He was once arrested by Obote soldiers, tortured and has scars on his face.
Obote soldiers mistreated me, and all these scars are a result of being cut. They asked me 2 questions. Bring the gun you used to attack a bus and reveal to us where Museveni is.
He fell victim of torture after declining to reveal the whereabouts of Museveni, despite all forms of threat.
The leader called Robert told me that I will speak. They tied a rope in my neck. I told them that I am going to die, but I don't know where Museveni is.
Food and clothes were just survival for the fittest.
We were given raw maize for a whole week, and we would eat 1 grain for survival. We were not ashamed to move half naked during the war because there were no clothes.
While in the bush, Badiru and others were advised to abandon their cows because they had become a burden on ground that they will be compensated after victory is achieved. But today, no compensation has been made to him.
My father's cows were lost. We are now suffering with hardly anything. And shockingly, those in the NRM tell us that we are suffering because we are the ones that brought Museveni to power.
After the war, Badiru has managed to construct a house and bought a motorcycle.
This house constructed and a motorcycle were brought by my children I also planted some coffee where I get some money for survival.
He benefited from the fund given to them under the Veteran Association in the area.
We were registered and we went to Sedunga. We were given 5 million shillings, but our chairman of the sub-county deducted 1.5 million from the amount. We were always given forms, and when the names came through, we would go to Centenary Bank to withdraw the money. But Lutaya John, the chairman, would tell us 1.5 is for the leaders.
Badiru, through the struggle, used to transport Nuru Namigadde, a person living with disability, on a bicycle.
There is a time I fell off the bicycle when Badru lost energy to push the bicycle. When I got up, he asked me whether I had been injured. I said, no, I am okay. He put me back on the bicycle and we proceeded. We really suffered.
This and more of her story features in the next episode. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Luwero District.
Now, despite the political challenges encountered by the NRA government 37 years down the road, there is a positive story to tell about the ruling NRM party. In tonight's continued broadcast on the NRA Liberation Day series, the party Secretary General Richard Todong explains the milestones the NRM has achieved, starting from the economic growth to security and stability. Robert Onyango gives us more.
It has not been an easy journey.
This is Richard Todong, the National Resistance Movement Party Secretary General, and he shares with us about how the 37-year liberation journey has been.
NRM started building Uganda from the foundation up to where we have reached now. The population of Uganda in 1986 was about 14 million people. At the moment, the population of Uganda is about, we are now talking about 45 million, meaning close to 30 million people were produced under NRM government. That is one of the biggest achievements Uganda should see in NRM.
He notes that this liberation isn't only felt in Uganda, but beyond borders.
And we have been able to hold the peace and stability of the Great Lakes region, not only for Uganda, but for the whole region that the NRM has been in leadership all this time. So we congratulate President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for his leadership and for all the citizens of the country for supporting NRM and being firm with the party.
NRM also boasts about the reinforcement of the structures of democracy.
That within NRM itself, our structures are well elaborate, that we give people opportunity up to the village level to elect their leaders. We hold elections at village level in the party. There is no political party or organization in Uganda that is doing that apart from NRM. So we conduct elections at village level, at parish level, at sub-county level, at district level. So all layers of leadership and administration, we have elected leaders. And because of that, we have close to 2.4 million leaders as a party. Now that is the strength of the party that we are talking about.
But how about its critics?
We don't discourage them to disagree with us. We encourage them to disagree and to critique what we do. And then we go forward. And then we have been doing that for a long time. Parliament is a multi-party parliament. There is the government side and the opposition side. The leader of opposition has the first call on our budget. He keeps challenging what we do. He keeps challenging our policies. That is the nature of life.
According to Richard Todong, some interventions have been brought on board to address some of the challenges.
Yes, we have had challenges. Like at the beginning of 1986, the whole of northern region was in a conflict that took us up to about 2007, when the IDP camps were dismantled and people went back home. We got challenges of cattle raiding in Karamoja. We got challenges of Ebola, which brought us total lockdown in the country. And then we got challenges of pockets of thuggery around and resistance. But to it all, we have been moving so well, apart from those challenges. People talk of a lack of employment for the young people, poverty, but these are things of the mind. When the mind is active and the mind is creative, you'll find something to do and you'll be active.
On several occasions, many have backbited about this regime as one which did forget the hand which fed it. However, Todong carries another version.
I have to also congratulate the people in Buganda and the central region that everybody seems to be busy and seeing opportunities with all this. They have welcomed everybody from around the country. They are being very kind to people. People have settled in Buganda very well. You have seen how other sub-regions people are being chased away. But in Buganda, they have welcomed people. People have settled in Buganda. These people who have settled in Buganda have brought wealth to Buganda. They have bought land in Buganda. They are zero, I will call them zero grazing. They have no gardens here. They are buying supplies from the markets. And who are the people in the markets? The Bugandas. They are the ones producing. The schools are in Buganda. The hospitals are in Buganda. So the 70 to 80% of the income of everybody who earns from within remains in Buganda. That is how they have been able to tie capital within. So how do you see this around? And so it is a discussion that we can... now when it comes to infrastructure development, yes, there are quite a number of challenges with the roads in Buganda that should be worked on, and the president has been talking about that.
Being the son hailing from the northern parts of the country, Todong is convinced that they too have had their share of the liberation.
Definitely, apart from the war, which disorganized it for a long time, and immediately after the war, the population resettled in homes. The region is picking up so well economically.
The 37-year journey of NRA-NRM can be either be best told by those who went to the bush, those who read about it, and probably those serving it. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Now, members of the NRM Secretariat have paid a courtesy call to Buganda Kingdom to appreciate the Kingdom's efforts in improving the welfare of Ugandans. Led by the Director of Mobilization, Rosemary Senide, the team described the caretaker of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, as a unifier and a mentor. The visit was aimed at maintaining a positive collaboration with Buganda Kingdom.
Members of the NRM Secretariat have appreciated Buganda Kingdom for improving the welfare of Ugandans. The delegation was led by the Director of Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, who thanked the Katikiro for his leadership.
Tunuulira ebyobulamu okoze omulimu munene nnyo mu bigambo by'obulamu era twebaza Obuganda. Ennaku zino wabaddewo okukuŋŋaanya omusaayi, ekintu ekikoleddwa mu ngeri ennene ndowooza etebangawo. Era kino kituwadde okusoomozebwa nti ffenna ng'abakulembeze tulina obuvunaanyizibwa okukola ebintu nga bino ebiyamba abantu. Twagala nnyo okwebaza era nkiwa ndowooza n'obwakabaka obulala mu ggwanga obulala nabwo ndowooza bulina kinene kugira ku bwakabaka bwa Buganda.
She commended Buganda Kingdom for the programs of creating awareness against poverty and pledged NRM's collaboration with Buganda Kingdom.
Manyi nti abantu baffe ekyaliyo abali mu mbeera ey'okwagala ey'obwavu betulina okusitula. Tukkiriza nti gavumenti erina kyekoze okulaba ng'esitula bannayuganda okubajja mu bwavu naddala ng'ereeta enteekateeka. Naye omuntu omu ayinza okubuuza ekibuuzo, lwaki era tukyalina yaabo abakyali mu bwavu? Kaakati nno ffe abamu ne tulowooza nti oba oliawo waliwo ekizibu kyendowooza mindset omuzungu kye yayise bw'atyo.
Buganda Katikiro Charles Peter Mayiga said the kingdom concern about the social and economic well-being of the people resulted into initiating programs for poverty alleviation.
It's probably easier for us as a kingdom to interface with the people. But these are the people that the government leads. So when you promote or support the programs that we initiate, I think you answer their needs and the intended members of the public will notice the kind of collaboration that we shall be having with the government in charge of the country.
He urged NRM to respect human rights, rule of law, and punish those who break the law.
You, as leaders, have got to acknowledge that you've got responsibility to the citizens. The NRM became popular because of the observance of human rights. And I urge you not desist from that cardinal principle upon which your government came into power.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
To matters pertaining to land now, where police have arrested over 20 locals from Kakunyu village at Namusera in Wakiso district after destroying a fence built by Dr. Apollo Kagwa, who evicted them to reclaim the 1 square mile piece of land from 2 villages, Kakunyu and Nsekwa in Namusera parish, Wakiso district.
In a meeting held by the State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, meeting all parties, the minister ordered the arrest of Dr. Kagwa and promised the locals freedom to their land.
Kagwa kwatiwe avunanywe ajakole ntegeka buli muntu akakasenti yo kibanja kye kyagebwajo yena amuyambe kumuzako.
Minister Mayanja also ordered the RDC Justin Babazi to take back the locals back to their land, which failed after police claiming not having enough manpower. The over 50 locals camped on the land there after a fight between the locals and Dr. Apollo Kagwa's security, which fired live bullets into the locals. Nobody was injured.
Batukubya amasaso ale tubadde eri mu waggulu bafande bonna ne bava eri bosikale bonna badde eri abatwalidde wansi wa mmolo katuka ku ttaka lyaffe lya muzeeyi wange kale mwana enseno jajja wuuna agenda abaddeyo esasa aliwonye buwonyi badde bakuba buli wamu amasasi.
The locals accused Dr. Kagwa of taking them for granted.
Kagwa n'angamba nti ye nga deputy IGP Meja Kasigazi achafuge nagulu bakyala mule nagulu tetugenda kufuna bwenkanya kuli nettaka n'amanya ajatutire wano wande ajatutire wano tutuvaawo ate bajja kuyiringisa nga batwala wali
abasajja bonna batabuse mutwafiiriddwa abantu twetaaga obbaziika tetulinayo tubaziika.
Tuwanide obubi bw'ettaka bususse bannange nze nkuze mmanyi nti wano waffe taata wange yafa nandaga nti wano waffe olwaleero kati abaliwo nze sibamanyi.
Police from Wakiso headquarters later came and arrested the locals. Dr. Kagwa's security destroyed the house which was built on the graveyard where the locals had camped. Jamil Sekaja compiled this report.
And that sort of brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company. From me and the entire news crew this evening, I wish you a blessed night. But we'll leave you with the second match of the CHAN tournament, and that is between Niger and Cameroon. Enjoy the match and good night.
It is the Menas versus the Intermediate Lions. Niger taking on Cameroon for a place in the quarterfinals of the Total Energies African Nations Championship, Algeria 2022. The Group E decider. Niger with one change. It's up front. Moussa is out and Haini Koi is going to be playing in the number 9 position for Niger here, coached by Haruna Dula. They're going to be playing in a 4-2-3-1 formation, so they were blunt up front